Let me take you back to September 23rd, 1954 in the neighbourhood of the Gorbals in Glasgow, Scotland. This was a normal Thursday for the children of Glasgow as they woke up and went about their morning routines of teeth brushing and cereal eating before heading off for school. School, more than likely, started off very ordinary as well. That is until a spine-chilling rumour began to circulate. 2 boys from the local area had gone missing, but the children had known exactly what had happened to them. A 7-foot-tall, pale, man-like monster with iron teeth had captured the boys and eaten them. This monster was what some were calling a vampire, which was a completely new concept to some of the children who had never heard of this terrifying monster, the vampire, before. One of the boys, Kenny Hughes, remembers hearing in school that a man with iron teeth and fangs that came down like a walrus had kidnapped and eaten 2 boys. Tommy Smith recalls being about 6 years old when he was sitting in a cafe with his Aunt Sadie when her friend came rushing in to say that there was a vampire at the local graveyard. This intrigued him, even though he literally never had a clue what a vampire was. Bob Hamilton and Jim McGregor remember hearing a very similar thing. A terrible monster with iron fangs who murders children was hiding out at the Gorbals' southern necropolis. This rumour spread like wildfire, and it wasn't long before hundreds of children all over Glasgow were talking about this demonic creature that would kill and eat you as soon as look at you. You might think that this would scare the children, that as soon as the school bell rang that afternoon, they would run home as quick as their little legs could carry them to the safety of their own home before night fell. However, in true Glasgow fashion, the children were not afraid. The children had collectively decided that this vampire had to unconditionally and irrevocably get so far to fuck. The southern necropolis is located in the Gorbals area of Glasgow. It was built in 1840 and is home to approximately 250,000 buried bodies of the deceased, and it's managed to get itself the nickname, the City of the Dead. This is where the man with the iron teeth was hiding out, so this is where the children would go to beat the shit out of him, kill him, or at least chase him out of Glasgow. I know. So that night, approximately 400 children aged between 4 and 14 went marching into the cemetery armed with weapons. Some of these weapons were stolen from their kitchen drawers and some were crafted by their own fearless little hands. And this was actually very creative, you know, I was actually quite impressed. I'm going to link some of the interviews with the who were boys then and are now like adult men now, talking about the weapons that they actually crafted. So they would get like this kind of, some of them got this kind of big stick and put like a tin of, like an empty tin of beans on the end and hammered it down so that it kind of looked like an axe. Revolutionary. This is honestly why I fucking love Glasgow, honestly. The City of the Dead was a particularly eerie scene this night as it was filled with a red glow and clouds of thick smoke. However, the vampire can actually be blamed for this. This was coming from a nearby steelworks, but who doesn't love a little spooky aesthetic, you know? Especially while on a vampire hunt, right? The vibes were just right. To the children, everything was a possible vampire. The tensions were high, the atmosphere was right, everyone was filled with excitement and terror as they marched through the cemetery, prepared to take down the murderous monster. Every twig that snapped beneath their feet, every rustle of leaves was a potential threat on their lives. And obviously there was wee fannies who would like hide behind gravestones and jump out at people, which personally I find hilarious. I'm a big fan of acting the clown, and yeah, I'm into it. People are shitting themselves that there's like a vampire lurking about. Why would you not hide behind a gravestone and pretend to be a vampire? Like, it's just too perfect an opportunity to waste. The mass hysteria of the vampire caught the attention of the police, who were like, why the fuck is there 400 Waynes running about a graveyard with fucking stakes and crosses, and why are there also a couple of truly mental adults here as well? And honestly, no judgment, as an alleged adult myself, I would definitely be there running about the graveyard. I have waited my entire life for my Buffy moment, so I would be there. PC Alex Deeprose arrived on the scene, and this is a quote from him. When I appeared, I felt like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. All shapes and sizes of children streamed after me, all talking at once, telling me of the vampire with iron teeth. This I could handle, but when grown-ups approached me and asked earnestly, is there anything in this vampire story? It made me think. Police presence obviously wasn't enough to make the children leave, even when more police were called. And then the head teacher of a local primary school also came to the cemetery to try and calm everybody down. Some reports say that this is what eventually worked and convinced the children to leave, but others say, actually, that's not what made us leave. The rain came on, started pissing down, I left because I wanted to go home. Don't tell me what to do, you're literally not my real dad. Whatever it was, the necropolis cleared, everybody went home, and there was still no capture of this vampire. Over the next couple of nights, things calmed down a little bit, probably partly because children just lose interest in things really easily, but also partly because their mums were probably like, stay away from that fucking gravy, I'm telling you. And on September 26, 1954, the Sunday Mail posted an article declaring the Gorbals vampire dead. The vampire, which was supposed to be running amok in Glasgow's southern necropolis on Thursday after devouring 2 little boys, started children armed with penknives, sticks and stones on a mammoth hunt. They swarmed over the 7-foot-high wall and started searching the cemetery. The rumours swept through the Hutchison Town district of Glasgow with amazing speed. Police were called out. Lurid comics and a horror film are blamed for starting the scare. But last night was all quiet at the necropolis. Youngsters who swarmed the surrounding streets guiltily laughed at the idea of a vampire. But you're probably wondering, what about the victims? What about these 2 wee boys who went missing and were eaten by the vampire? Well, they were never to be found. As in, like, nobody found out who they were because no little boys were actually reported missing. Or at least that's what they want us to think. So what else was to be done now? Well, the only thing that could be done. Blame the Americans. Parents, teachers and those who were of the Christian faith believed that American horror movies and comic stories such as The Vampire with the Iron Teeth were to blame for corrupting the minds of our innocent children. This actually led to pretty big changes in British law when in 1955 the Children and Young Persons Harmful Publications Act was put in place. So this act banned the sale of comics and books containing incidents of a repulsive or horrible nature to minors. I feel like that's pretty cool that the Gorbals vampire had quite a big impact. Who knows where things would be now? And since then, the Gorbals vampire has inspired artwork, comics, stories, and even a play that was held at the Glasgow Citizens Theatre in 2016, which I am truly gutted that I never got to see that. And if you ever happen to be in Glasgow, if you're not already in Glasgow, in the Gorbals there is a huge mural of the Gorbals vampire that's pretty cool. And who knows, if you go creeping about the southern necropolis, you might just get to meet him in person. Once I've actually packed up my camera, I'm actually going to go there so that I can get some B-roll for this video, which you would have already seen implemented throughout the video. And that's why I've got my protection with me today. You know, I've got my stake, my cross, my holy water. I've got my swords just in case anybody wants to start some shit. So if you never see me again, then I guess the man with the iron teeth has murdered me. It's the way I would want to go, honestly. Anyway, until next time, bye!